They say respect is earned, but sometimes the world won't even give you the chance. This is a story of a man who fought for his country, only to be laughed at by the very people who were supposed to protect him. But what that officer didn't know was that this nobody had the power to flip the entire script. Atlanta, Tuesday afternoon. Marcus Turner walked out of the store with nothing but bread and milk. But as he headed to his car, a police cruiser screeched to a stop, lights flashing, sirens screaming. Two officers, one calm, the other arrogant, smirking. "Hey, you, what are you doing here?" Marcus frowned. "Buying groceries?" The officer laughed. "Don't get smart. You fit the description." He snatched Marcus's bag, bread on the ground, milk spilling everywhere, and then the words no black man ever forgets. "Let me guess, you're on parole?" Marcus's jaw clenched, his voice steady. "No, I'm a veteran." The officer burst out laughing. "You? A veteran? Please, you can survive boot camp." And that's when Marcus had enough. He reached into his wallet and pulled out a card. Not just any card. His military ID. The crowd gasped. The officer froze. The smirk disappeared, because in bold letters it read, "Sergeant Marcus Turner." Marcus stepped forward. "You laughed at me. You humiliated me. But while you sat here handing out parking tickets, I was bleeding for this country." Phones came out, cameras recording, the crowd surrounding them now. And Marcus's voice thundered. "You never asked who I was. You assumed, and assumptions like yours get men like me killed." By that night, the video went viral. 10 million views. Some saw a veteran reclaiming his dignity. Others saw a cop exposed. But everyone saw the truth. Respect isn't optional. And mocking the wrong man, that can cost you everything. 2 days later, Marcus opened his mailbox. Inside, an envelope. No name. No return address. One message. "Sergeant Turner, that officer you embarrassed? He's not the real problem. He's just the beginning. Watch your back. They're coming for you." Marcus thought his war ended overseas. But a new battle was only beginning. Marcus sat in his kitchen, staring at the letter. His hands, steady in combat zones, calm under fire, were trembling now. The note's words echoed. "Watch your back. They're coming for you." For a man who had faced enemies on foreign soil, this should have been nothing. But something about the handwriting, the way it was slipped into his private mailbox with no tracks, no clues, told him this wasn't just a prank. This was real. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house felt louder. Every car passing outside seemed to slow near his window. And then, at 2:13 a.m., he heard it. A soft crunch on the gravel driveway. Heavy boots. Marcus's instincts kicked in. He grabbed the old service pistol locked in his drawer and crouched near the window. Through the blinds, he saw them. 2 men in black, standing by his car. One lifted his phone. The glow of the screen lit his face for just a second, but it was enough. Marcus recognized him. Officer Bradley, the same cop who had mocked him outside the grocery store. But now, Bradley wasn't laughing. Marcus waited until they left, then inspected his car. That's when he saw it. A small plastic bag shoved under the seat. White powder. His chest tightened. They weren't just harassing him. They were setting him up. The next morning, Marcus marched into the precinct, letter in his pocket, fury in his eyes. He slammed the bag of powder on the counter. "This was in my car last night." The officer at the desk froze. And then, "Sir, I'll need you to step into the interrogation room." Marcus's heart sank. The trap was working. Within minutes, he was surrounded. Bradley entered, smirking again, like the grocery store all over. Looks like our war hero isn't so squeaky clean after all. But Marcus wasn't the same man he'd been days ago. He leaned forward, voice calm but sharp as steel. "I fought terrorists overseas, but I never thought I'd have to fight them in uniform here." Just when it seemed over, the door opened. A woman walked in. Detective Angela Ruiz. Unlike the others, her eyes weren't mocking. They were searching, calculating. She looked at Marcus, then at Bradley, then at the evidence bag. Her lips pressed into a thin line. Release him. Now. Bradley's face twisted. Detective, with all due respect. Now. The tension broke like glass. Marcus was free, but he knew this wasn't over. Angela met him outside. Her voice was low. Sergeant Turner, you're not paranoid. They're targeting you. Marcus frowned. Why? She pulled out a file. Inside were photos, reports, names. You embarrassed one of them. Now, they need to make an example of you, but it's bigger than Officer Bradley. Marcus flipped through the pages, and then he froze, because staring back at him was a picture of Captain Reynolds, the precinct commander, Bradley's superior, the same man who had shaken Marcus's hand at a community event just months earlier, the man who smiled for cameras while talking about justice. And written under his file, Internal Affairs, under investigation for racketeering. Marcus's world spun. This wasn't just about one arrogant cop. This was a network, planting drugs, fabricating charges, destroying lives. And now they wanted to destroy him. Angela leaned in. You went viral, Marcus. Millions of people saw you. That makes you dangerous, because you showed the world what they don't want anyone to see. Over the next week, the harassment grew worse. His mailbox smashed open. Strange cars idling on his street at night. Job applications mysteriously withdrawn after interviews. They were tightening the noose, but Marcus refused to bow. Every insult, every attempt to break him, only lit a fire deeper in his chest. One night, Marcus returned home to find his front door ajar. He moved silently, pistol raised. The living room was trashed, drawers pulled open, paper scattered, and on his wall, spray painted in red, Traitor. Marcus's stomach dropped. This wasn't random. This was personal. The next day, Angela called, her voice urgent. Marcus, I dug deeper. This goes beyond the precinct, beyond Reynolds. What do you mean? She hesitated, then whispered. They've got ties to federal contracts, private prisons, kickbacks, every arrest, every charge. It's money. And veterans, you're their biggest threat. Because if men like you speak out, the whole thing unravels. Marcus's blood ran cold. He wasn't just fighting for himself. He was standing against an empire. Later that week, Marcus received another letter. But this time, no threats. Just one line. Meet me at Grant Park. Midnight. Come alone. An ally. He almost ignored it. But something told him this was different. At midnight, Marcus arrived. And out of the shadows, a figure emerged. It wasn't Angela. It wasn't a cop. It was a young man, barely 20. Shaking. Nervous. He handed Marcus a flash drive. They told me to plant this in your house. I couldn't do it. You don't know me, but you saved me once. When I was homeless, you gave me food. I couldn't let them destroy you. Marcus's heart pounded. What's on this drive? The boy's eyes darted. Proof. Everything. Names. Payments. Videos. It's all here. Before Marcus could ask more, headlights cut through park. Engines roaring. Black SUVs. Doors slamming. Voices shouting. Hands where we can see them. The boy panicked. Run. Marcus clutched the flash drive and sprinted into the dark. Bullets cracked the air. Shouts echoed behind him. He dove into the trees, heart pounding, flash drive clenched tight. And in that moment, one truth hit harder than any bullet. This wasn't about survival anymore. This was war. The next morning, Angela received a voicemail. Marcus's voice hoarse, urgent. Angela, I've got the proof. But they're on to me. If you don't hear from me in 24 hours, release everything. Click. The line went dead. And as Angela replayed the message, one thought chilled her to the bone. Marcus Turner might not live to see justice served. Marcus ran to park, lungs burning, branches whipping his face. Behind him, the crunch of boots, the metallic click of guns. But he held on tight to the flash drive. It wasn't just a piece of plastic. It was survival. It was truth. And it was the only weapon he had left. By dawn, Marcus was at Angela's apartment. He slammed the flash drive on her table. "Run it," he whispered, voice shaking. When the files loaded, Angela's hands froze. There it was, hidden body cam footage of drug plants, wire transfers to secret accounts, meetings between cops, judges, even businessmen. It was worse than either of them imagined. Angela leaned back. "This isn't just a case, Marcus. This is a war." When the footage leaked to a journalist Marcus trusted from his army days, the nation erupted. Headlines blazed. Veteran exposes police corruption network. Community hero or targeted enemy? Cable news ran Marcus's name every hour. Protests swelled outside the courthouse. Supporters carried signs. "Justice for Marcus. Stop the setup." But the more the world rallied around him, the more dangerous it became. Marcus couldn't walk the streets without looking over his shoulder. His car brakes tampered with. A bullet hole through his mailbox. Strangers tailing him in unmarked cars. Each time he survived, but just barely. Angela warned him, "They're not just trying to silence you. They're trying to make you disappear." Finally, the day came. The trial against Reynolds, Bradley, and their network began. Marcus sat at the witness stand. The courtroom buzzed with reporters, cameras, and families who'd suffered under the same corrupt system. Reynolds smirked across the room, whispering with his lawyer. But when Marcus raised his right hand and swore to tell the truth, the silence was deafening. He spoke with the weight of years on his shoulders. "Those men tried to strip me of my dignity. They tried to bury me under lies. But I fought for this country once, and I'll fight for it again." The gallery erupted in applause. But just as hope seemed within reach, the defense struck back. Bradley's lawyer held up evidence. Surveillance photos, text messages, all pointing to Marcus himself as the one behind the drug deals. The courtroom gasped. Marcus's chest tightened. These weren't real. He'd never seen them before, but they looked authentic. Too authentic. Angela whispered sharply, "They've got someone on the inside. Someone feeding them fabricated evidence." That night, Marcus received another letter slipped under his hotel door. Same handwriting as before. Only this time, it wasn't a threat. It was a warning. "Check the jury. One of them isn't who they claim to be." Marcus froze. The jury, the very people deciding his fate. The next day in court, Marcus scanned the jurors. Faces blank, unreadable, but then his eyes locked on one man. Something about him felt wrong. Too calm, too watchful. And then it hit him. He'd seen that face before. Not as a juror, but in one of the surveillance photos from the flash drive, standing next to Captain Reynolds. Marcus's stomach dropped. They hadn't just rigged the evidence. They had infiltrated the jury itself. Marcus tried to rise, to shout, to expose the truth, but the judge slammed his gavel. Order in the court. Reynolds leaned back in his chair, smirk widening, as if to say, "Checkmate." And then, as Marcus sat there, heart racing, a bailiff slipped him a folded note. It read, "If you speak again, you won't make out alive." The note. Marcus sat frozen, the bailiff's note trembling in his hands. "If you speak again, you won't make it out alive." His heart pounded so loud, he thought the jury could hear it. He looked up. Reynolds smirked across the courtroom. Detective Harris leaned casually in his seat, and that juror, the one Marcus recognized, never broke eye contact. The walls were closing in. The defense attorney rose, waving fabricated photos like a trophy. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," he boomed, "this is your hero, caught red-handed, selling poison to our streets." The jury gasped. Cameras flashed. Reporters scribbled. Marcus gripped the edge of the witness stand. "This is fake," he shouted. "That's not me." The judge slammed his gavel. "One more outburst, Mr. Daniels, and you'll be held in contempt." Marcus's attorney, Angela, leaned close. "They're trying to bait you. Don't give them the satisfaction." But Marcus could feel the noose tightening. Every piece of evidence being paraded in front of the jury wasn't just false. It was flawless. Whoever was behind this wasn't sloppy. They were surgical. During recess, as Marcus was escorted to a holding room, a janitor passed by, sweeping the floor. Except he wasn't sweeping. He slipped Marcus a folded napkin. Inside, scrawled in shaky handwriting, "Your lawyer isn't who you think she is." Marcus's blood ran cold. His eyes snapped to Angela, who was calmly sipping coffee, flipping through files. Could it be? The one person he trusted since day one, the only one who believed him, was part of them? He didn't want to believe it, but deep down, he remembered the inconsistencies. Files Angela said were missing. Leads she told him were dead ends. Had she been steering him all along? Back in court, Angela called her first witness, a supposed expert, who testified that Marcus's fingerprints were found on the fake evidence. Marcus's heart sank. He hadn't touched those files. But Angela didn't even flinch. She presented the witness like it was routine, like she already knew what he'd say. It was a setup, and Angela wasn't on it. Marcus couldn't sit still. He scanned the gallery. Protesters outside waved justice for Marcus signs, their voices muffled through the glass. But inside this courtroom, it was all theater. The judge, the jury, the lawyers. It was rigged from the start. When court adjourned for the day, Marcus confronted Angela. "You knew," he hissed, cornering her in the hallway. "You knew they were going to bring fake prints." Angela's eyes flickered, just for a second. Then she smiled. "Careful, Marcus. You wouldn't want people to think you're paranoid." That smile told him everything. She was one of them. That night, locked in his hotel room under police watch, Marcus hacked into the flash drive again. He dug deeper, past the obvious files, past the surface-level evidence. Buried in a hidden folder, he found it. Meeting logs, encrypted memos, a name repeated again and again. Project Sentinel, Overseer, A. Carter. Marcus's chest tightened. Angela Carter, his lawyer. She wasn't just part of the conspiracy. She was leading it. Before Marcus could process, the lights in his room flickered. The TV snapped on by itself. Static, then a grainy video feed. Angela's face filled the screen. Smiling. Cold. "Marcus," she purred. "You should have listened when I told you not to fight. You think this is about your father? No, this is bigger. Much bigger. And by the time the truth comes out, you'll be long gone." The screen went black. At that exact moment, glass shattered. Men in black tactical gear stormed the room. Marcus barely grabbed the flash drive before diving out the fire escape. Bullets ripped through the walls. Sirens wailed in the distance. Marcus ran through the alleys, clutching the drive. Every shadow felt like a gunman. Every siren felt like a death sentence. He reached out to the only ally he had left, Elena's sister. She picked him up 2 blocks away. "Marcus, what happened?" They know everything. "Angela, she's the overseer." Her knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. "You mean your own lawyer?" Marcus nodded, shaking. "They've been playing me since day one." Back at Elena's sister's apartment, Marcus plugged a flash drive into her laptop. This time, he decrypted the final layer files. And what he found made his blood run cold. Not just cops, not just board members, not just Angela. Politicians, judges, military contractors. This wasn't corruption. It was an empire, and Marcus had just stumbled into its heart. The next morning, headlines screamed, "Marcus Daniels caught in hotel shootout. Veteran turns fugitive." They painted him as violent, dangerous, unstable. Angela gave a press conference herself, condemning Marcus as a man who betrayed his own people. Marcus's jaw clenched as he watched from hiding. She had stolen the narrative completely. Now, the entire nation believed he was guilty. That night, Marcus received another letter slipped under the apartment door. But this one was different. It wasn't typed. It wasn't cold. It was handwritten in shaky script. And it was signed by his mother. The letter read, "Marcus, if you're reading this, then the truth has reached you. Angela isn't your enemy. She's your sister." Marcus's knees buckled. His mother and Angela's mother were the same? All this time, the woman destroying his life. the woman pulling the strings, was his own blood. Marcus sat in stunned silence, the letter crumpling in his hands. His whole life, every betrayal, every setup, suddenly felt different. Angela hadn't just been a random lawyer. She had been connected to him from the very beginning. And as he stared at the last line of the letter, his stomach turned to stone. If you want to know why your father really died, ask your sister. The letter. Marcus's hands shook as he read the words again. Angela isn't your enemy. She's your sister. The letter felt like fire in his palms. His mother's handwriting, her fragile script. There was no mistaking it. Sister, the woman who betrayed him, the woman who set him up, the woman who smiled in his face while destroying his life, was family. Marcus stumbled back, chest tight, air burning in his lungs. No, this can't be real. But deep down he knew. The resemblance. The way Angela always seemed to know more than she should. The way she cut him down, yet never quite let him die. It wasn't mercy. It was blood. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. Every creak of the floorboards sounded like footsteps. Every shadow whispered Angela's name. And then, a knock at the door. Elena's sister froze. Marcus, don't. But Marcus already knew. It wasn't the police. It wasn't the press. It was her. When he opened the door, Angela stood there. No bodyguards. No suit. Just a long coat and tired eyes. Finally, she said softly, "We need to talk." Marcus's fists clenched. Talk? After you destroyed my life? After you framed me, hunted me, tried to kill me? Angela's lips curled into something between a smile and a grimace. You think I wanted this? You think I enjoyed tearing you apart? Marcus, everything I've done was to protect you. Protect me? Marcus barked. You put a gun to my head in court. Angela stepped inside, uninvited. Do you really think Harris was the one in charge? Or Daniels? Or even the board? They were pawns. Just like you. Just like me. Angela dropped a folder on the table. Inside, photos of their father. But not the man Marcus remembered. This version wore no wedding ring. He was younger, suit sharper, eyes harder. Our father, Angela said, her voice cold, wasn't just an investigator. He was part of them. The empire you've been fighting, he helped build it. Marcus shook his head violently. No, my father was a good man. He died trying to expose them. Angela leaned closer. That's what they wanted you to believe. That's what Mom wanted you to believe. But the truth is, he only turned on them when they betrayed him. By then, it was too late. He knew too much, and they couldn't risk him talking. Marcus's throat went dry. All his life, he believed his father was a martyr. Now Angela was telling him he was an architect of corruption. Why are you telling me this? He whispered. Angela's eyes softened. For the first time, she looked less like a predator and more like a sister. Because you deserve to know why they'll never stop coming after you. You're not just exposing them, Marcus. You're undoing his legacy. But something didn't add up. Marcus flipped through the photos again. Dates scrawled on the back. One caught his eye. August 12, 2004. He remembered that date. His father was with him, teaching him how to ride a bike. Laughing as Marcus fell into grass. How could he be at some boardroom meeting on the 12th? Marcus said slowly, if he was with me that whole day? Angela froze. Just for a moment, and Marcus saw it, the crack in her armor. You're lying, he hissed. You're twisting the story, just like you did in court. Angela's jaw tightened. You don't understand, Marcus. Some truths are too dangerous to handle. No, Marcus shot back. Some lies are too convenient to keep. Before Angela could respond, the window shattered. Gunfire tore through the room. Marcus pulled Elena's sister to the floor, dragging Angela down with him. Black-clad shooters swarmed outside, red laser sights cutting through the smoke. Marcus shouted, "You brought them here?" Angela shook her head fiercely. "No, it wasn't me. Harris knows you're close to the truth. He wants us both dead." The firefight was brutal. Bullets shredded the furniture. Sparks flew as rounds ricocheted off metal pipes. Marcus managed to grab one of the shooter's rifles and fire back, forcing them to retreat. But when the smoke cleared, Elena's sister was gone, kidnapped. Marcus's stomach dropped. First his father, then his mother. Now the last ally he had. Angela stood, brushing glass off her coat. Her face was pale, almost shaken. "They won't kill her right away," Angela whispered. "They'll use her as leverage." Marcus snapped. "And why should I believe you?" Angela hesitated. "Because if they have her, it means they're close to finding out the truth about Mom." Marcus blinked. "What about Mom?" Angela's voice dropped to a whisper. "She's not the victim you think she is." Marcus staggered back. "What are you saying?" Angela's eyes glistened, not with tears, but with fear. "Our mother, she was the one who gave the order to eliminate Dad." The words hit Marcus like a hammer. His knees buckled. "No, you're lying." Angela's hand trembled as she held out another file. Inside, an old memo, signed in his mother's unmistakable handwriting. "Terminate subject Daniel Sr. Risk too high." Marcus's vision blurred. His chest tightened like it was collapsing in on itself. His mother, the woman who raised him, who told him stories of his father's bravery, who begged him to never stop fighting, was the one who had him killed. Angela grabbed his shoulders. "You see now? This isn't just about cops or corporations. This is blood. This is family. We're caught in something bigger than both of us." Marcus shoved her away. No, I don't buy it. You've lied too many times. For all I know, this is another trick." Angela didn't flinch. "Then ask for yourself." That night, Marcus returned to his safe house. He sat in the dark, staring at the memo. His mother's signature glared back at him. Then, another envelope slid under his door. His breath caught. Hands shaking, he tore it open. Inside, a single sheet of paper. No threats, no riddles, just one chilling line. "Son, if you love me, stop digging, because the next truth you find will destroy us both." Marcus's eyes burned. His mother's handwriting again. And at the bottom, a bloodstain smeared across the page. Marcus sat frozen, the paper trembling in his hands. "Son, if you love me, stop digging, because the next truth you find will destroy us both." The words clawed at his chest, dragging him into a pit of confusion and rage. The blood smeared across the bottom. Was it hers? Was she alive? Hurt? Or was this just another game, another trap? Angela's voice echoed in his mind. Our mother ordered Dad's death. But now, his mother's own hand begged him to stop. Marcus whispered into the dark. Which one of you is lying? The answer came not in words, but in violence. The lights in his safe house flickered once. Then the smell hit him. Gas. Marcus's instinct screamed. He lunged to the window just as the building erupted. The explosion hurled him into the night air. Flames roaring behind him, glass slicing his skin. He hit the alley pavement hard, coughing, ears ringing. Someone had known he was here. Someone had delivered that letter. And someone wanted to silence him before he could uncover more. But who? Angela? Harris? Or his own mother? Marcus staggered up, blood dripping from his forehead. This wasn't just survival anymore. This was war. Marcus moved through the city like a shadow, every step haunted by the words on that page. He tracked down one man who could help, Detective Leon Price, a retired investigator who once worked with his father. Price lived in a crumbling townhouse, surrounded by dusty case files. At first, the old man refused to talk, but when Marcus laid the bloodstained letter on the table, Price's eyes widened. Where did you get this? My mother sent it, Marcus said. Or someone wanted me to think she did. Price rubbed his chin. This handwriting's real. But look here. The paper's yellowed. Ink's faded. Son, this wasn't written yesterday. This was written almost 20 years ago. Marcus's chest tightened. 20 years. Price nodded grimly. Which means whoever slipped this under your door, they're digging up old ghosts. And they want you chasing the wrong ones. Marcus flipped the letter again, scanning every inch. And then he saw it. The date, July 2005. But in July 2005, his mother was in the hospital recovering from surgery. She couldn't even hold a pen. Marcus remembered visiting her. The tubes, the nurses. So how could she have written this? Marcus's head pounded. Was Angela lying? Was the letter forged? Or was his mother involved in ways he couldn't yet see? Detective Price leaned closer. You're caught between three liars, son. Angela Harris, and maybe even your mama. But I'll tell you this. Only one of them had to reach to fake old records and plant this letter in your hands. Marcus stared. Who? Price's voice dropped to a whisper. The agency. The same shadow outfit your father worked for before he died. Price slid a folder across the table. Inside were surveillance photos. Some Marcus had never seen before. His father, not with corporate bosses, not with politicians, but with Angela's mother. Marcus froze. He had never thought about Angela's mother. He barely knew her name. But here she was, standing beside his father, both of them whispering into the same recorder, passing files back and forth. Price said, your father wasn't cheating. He wasn't just working both sides. He was building something with her. They were partners. Maybe more. And when things went south, someone erased her from the story. Marcus's voice cracked. Are you saying Angela isn't just my half-sister? Price nodded slowly. I'm saying your father and her mother may have been the original whistleblowers. Together, and someone took them both out of the picture. Marcus's world spun. Angela wasn't the villain. She wasn't the hunter. She was the other orphan of the same war. Before Marcus could process, the sound of boots thundered outside. SWAT, tactical teams, moving in fast. Price's face went pale. They found us. The old man shoved a flash drive into Marcus's hand. Take this. It's everything I couldn't prove. Photos, files, recordings. Run. Marcus sprinted through back alley as bullets shattered windows and Price's house went up in flames. But when he glanced back, he saw Price, standing in the doorway, refusing to run. A single shot cracked. Price collapsed. Marcus's heart shattered, but his legs carried him forward. The flash drive burned in his pocket. They weren't just after him anymore. They were erasing every witness. Marcus holed up in an abandoned subway tunnel, panting, shaking, bloodied. He plugged the flash drive into an old laptop. What he saw made his stomach drop. Video files, secret meetings, voices, and then a recording of his mother, not begging, not warning, but commanding. Her voice was cold, steely. If Daniels won't fall in line, then he becomes expendable. Do it clean, and make sure the children never learn the truth. Marcus's blood ran ice cold. This wasn't a forgery. This was real. His mother had given the kill order, but as he leaned closer, something caught his ear. A faint cough in the background, a voice barely audible. Angela's mother. Marcus's eyes widened. They weren't enemies. They weren't rivals. They had been in it together. The betrayal ran deeper than blood. His whole childhood, every bedtime story, every truth, had been a manufactured lie. Marcus slammed the laptop shut, heart racing. Footsteps echoed in the tunnel. Voices whispered his name. Angela's voice called out, Marcus, you need to see the rest. Don't run. Marcus raised a gun in his trembling hands. Stay back. Her silhouette appeared in the dark. I told you, Marcus, the truth would destroy us both. You think you're ready? You're not. Marcus gritted his teeth. Then tell me why. Why did Mom kill Dad? Why did your mother help her? Angela stepped into the light, eyes burning. Because, Marcus, they weren't trying to kill him. They were trying to replace him. Marcus froze. What? Angela's lips curved into something between a smile and a warning. Dad didn't die the way you think he did. And if you keep digging, you're going to meet the man they replaced him with. Marcus's breath caught. Replaced him? What did that even mean? Before he could answer, the tunnel filled with the roar of engines. Black SUVs screeched to a stop at both ends. Floodlights blinded him. Armed men poured in. Angela grabbed his arm, her grip iron tight. You have to choose, Marcus. Come with me now, or die here before you learn the truth. Marcus's finger hovered on the trigger. torn between rage and survival. And then, through the blinding light, a voice boomed over the loudspeakers. A voice Marcus hadn't heard in 20 years. Low, commanding, familiar. Stand down, both of you. Marcus's heart stopped. It was his father's voice. Alive. Marcus's entire body froze. That voice, that tone, the one he hadn't heard since he was a boy hiding under the stairs, listening to his father argue with men in suits. Stand down, both of you. Floodlights bathed the tunnel, shadows stretching across damp concrete. Armed men stopped mid-step, their guns lowering at the command. And then, out of the blinding glare, a figure emerged. Tall, broad, familiar. Marcus's breath caught in his throat. It was him, his father, or someone wearing his face. Dad? Marcus whispered, his voice cracking. The man stepped closer, his eyes sharp but strangely cold. Marcus, you were never supposed to see me again. Marcus stumbled back, gun still shaking in his grip. You're dead. I buried you. I saw the blood. The man cut him off. What you saw was what they wanted you to see. A body in a coffin. A story for the newspapers. But not me. Angela's eyes darted between them, her jaw tight. Marcus, don't. But Marcus couldn't hold it in. Years of pain ripped out of him in one shout. Then tell me why. Why did you leave us? Why did Mom? His father's gaze flickered. Your mother knew. She was part of it. She saved my life that night. Marcus's stomach turned. No, that couldn't be true. His mother had been the one giving kill orders. He'd heard the tape. The contradictions tore at his mind. Marcus steadied himself, forcing the gun higher. Prove it. Prove you're my father. The man smiled faintly. Your first scar, age 7. Climbing Mrs. Weller's fence for a baseball. You slipped, caught the wire. Your mother was furious. I laughed and told her, that boy will bleed his way to greatness. Marcus's knees went weak. No one else knew that. Not Angela. Not Harris. Not Daniels. Only his father. But then, a crack in the story. Marcus whispered, almost to himself. It wasn't a baseball. It was Jamal's kite. The man's eyes narrowed, just for a second. A hesitation. Marcus's chest tightened. Something was off. Angela stepped forward, voice trembling. Marcus, listen to me. This isn't the man you think he is. The figure's jaw clenched. Angela, enough. But she kept going. They replaced him. Years ago, when our parents tried to blow the whistle, the agency made sure they vanished. Your father didn't survive that night, but his identity did. This man is one of theirs. Marcus's throat went dry. Replaced. The word echoed in his mind. The same warning Angela had whispered before. The man raised his hands, calm, commanding. They'll tell you anything to turn you against me. But the truth is simpler. I lived. I was forced underground. And now I've come back to finish what I started. Marcus's finger trembled on the trigger. Who was lying? Angela, who had betrayed him before, or this man, who wore his father's face but stumbled on the smallest details. And just as Marcus inhaled to make his choice, the lights cut out. Darkness swallowed the room. A single whisper slipped through the black. Marcus, you're aiming at the wrong man. To be continued in part 2. If you were Marcus, standing there in the dark, who would you trust, Angela, or the man claiming to be his father? Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next chapter of this gripping story.